Hi everybody, welcome back to Journey with Arrows. My name's Dave, and today we're looking at serving, how to replace serving on your bowstrings. You can also use it for adding knocking points onto your serving as well, as I do. I've had a few people that have messaged me recently saying, how do you do this? How do you tie the knots? How do you tie it off at the end? How do you do it without tying knots and using glue and getting a rough finish and a sharp finish on your serving string? So today I'm going to do a little bit of a video on how to do serving, and this is going to be one of hopefully 3 videos this month. I've been a little bit quiet on the videos. I've lost the device which I usually film on, so I'm filming on a different device here, so if the quality is a little bit poorer, I do apologise. We've still got the Griffin bow which is underway in being filmed. I'm hoping to finish that tomorrow and get that video out as well, so that'll be one of the other 3. And then hopefully at the end of the month we're going to round it up with a how-to on how to cut self knots into wooden arrows and things as well. So they're the 3 videos which I'm hoping are going to be following this one. But for today, thank you for everybody that's joined. If you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel, if you can hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom, that helps a lot, helps the channel grow, brings everybody together. Feel free to share the video out as well if you can do. And yeah, let's crack on with the serving and how to apply serving strings to your bowstrings. Okay then, so all you're going to need obviously is your serving string, whether you're using multicoloured serving or single serving makes no difference. Just be mindful of the fact that if you're going to get anybody that's being a bit particular about rules in end fast shooting or anything, then some competitions will state your serving has to be one colour. So if you just double check your serving before you apply it. So serving is what you're going to need. You need a knife or a pair of scissors, something sharp to obviously cut your serving with. Those 2. One of these helps a lot. This is a serving tool. This one's by Cartel. You can do this process without using one of these. It takes a little bit longer, so this certainly does speed things up and make it a damn sight easier. And other than that, the only other thing you're going to need is either a lighter or a set of matches, and it's as easy as that. So first of all, we're going to mount our serving spool onto the serving pool, just like so. Get that into there. Stab a hole in this one, I think. A little bit fiddly, but you can kind of get there with it. I think the last serving spool I used was a little bit smaller than this one actually. A little bit fiddly to get on at times, especially if you're like me and you've got clumsy hands, but there we go. Get that back on. Now you don't want to tighten this too tight, you'll see why later on. If you've got a bit of movement in there, that's all good. But you'll have to play around with this in a moment. So let's just wind off that excess because we don't need that. Now on the top here you'll see we've got arrows and coming down at different angles, and on the other side they come up as well. So all we're going to do here, this first arrow is what we're going to be bringing our thread into. So we're going to go through there, through that bottom one, and we're going to pull it through. And then from this bottom one, you can see we've got an arrow that goes to the right. So we're going to go through that one and pull it through the back side. From there, the arrow goes up to 1 o'clock to that top hole. So we're going to thread it back through that one. Pull it through there. And then from here, we're going to go back down to 7 o'clock in the bottom left. Pull it back through. loosen this off a little bit. And then from there, we're going to go through that tiny hole at the top. Now I've got a bit of a spur on the end of this, so that's just loose. Tidy that up a bit. It can be a little bit fiddly at times, these serving tools, but they're not too bad. Right. So then we're going to push this through that tiny hole at the top up here as well. So just give me a moment. It's probably the only thing that takes a little while. Okay then, so we're going to replace the serving on this old longbow. Evidently this does not get used anymore, but it'll do well for the demonstration. So you're going to pull out a little bit of thread from your serving tool, and what you're going to do is maybe about, I usually go by about half an inch or so from where your serving is going to be. You're going to let this bit dangle, but this is going to get tucked in on the underside of this thread here, so you'll be wrapping it down like this. So start where you need to be, hold your finger just to hold that on there, and you're just going to throw a loop over the top, nice and easy. Again, holding that there, nice and tight. Take your time with it, no rush for getting this done quickly. And you're just going to throw another loop over and just push them up. And another one. Now when you do this every time, it's important to make sure that you're not going to go over the top of the last loop that you've done. You can come back over. Keeping it nice and tight and give it a pull. And another one. Another. Do one more for good measure. Now you could do the entire serving like this. It would take you a hell of a long time. But the main thing really is that is just wrapped enough just so that it holds itself and doesn't come undone. Makes it a lot easier for the next process. So all I'm going to do now is just slacken off this a minute and just reel in some of that excess thread that's hanging out there. And this is where you'll have to play around with this little turn key at the bottom, just to make sure that you've got it slack enough to allow you to rotate it. And we're just going to keep rotating this just until the point where my serving tool comes flush with the string, making sure that I'm not going over the top of my last loop, keeping it nice and flat. There we go. And you'll notice that it'll come and sit together, and it'll sit in that groove, which is nice and handy. Now this is where you'll have to play around with this just to kind of slacken off or tighten up the spool, just to allow you to give you that spin as it comes over. It's important that this bowstring doesn't twist in the process, because you're either going to slacken it off or tighten it up and get all sorts of kinks going on. So I usually use my backhand, my right hand here, just to hold the string, whilst my left hand rotates the serving around like so. And it literally is just as simple as that. If you feel the bowstring begin to twist, as you did then, or as I did then, just lighten off that spool and just wrap them around and just keep going and going and going. So we're just going to keep doing that until we get the length that we desire on our serving. Okay, so once you've got down to the level of where you want your serving to end, you're going to cut your thread off of your spool, pull out a good length of it here, and keep this nice and tight to stop your other bits from unraveling. Now, what you're going to do is, I find it far easier if you make sure the serving is on the outside of the bowstring rather than on the inside here. You're going to take your thumb and you're going to wrap it over your thumb like so. And then you're going to come on the inside of your serving here. At this point I usually just kind of swap it from my finger because I find it a little bit easier. You can kind of come through between the two. You're going to come underneath and you're going to bring your thread on the inside here. You're going to pull it up and get over it. Like so. It's a little bit difficult when I'm trying to keep it in line with the camera as well. So keep the tension on this top bit and you're going to put, I usually do about 14 turns on the inside here. So that's one. I'm going to come under again. Do 2. 3. 14. So you want to end again with your serving string on the inside of on the outside of your bowstring here. So the same side that you will have held your thread here, they're both going to be on the same side. Okay, so you've done your 14 threads this side. You've ended with this end cord on the outside of your bowstring, the same side as this one here. What you're going to do is take this and hold it flat to your serving. So from here, you come over and just hold it flat onto there, like so. Then all you're going to do is take this loop that you've been holding and you're just going to wind it back off. So all those threads that you just put on, you're going to wind back. You'll notice that this side here where my index finger is, it's going to put them threads back onto your serving. And it's going to hold that cord that you've just pulled over back into place. And it's going to hide the end of your line underneath your serving. So you're going to hold it with your left hand after every turn so it doesn't come undone. Keep it nice and tight. For every wrap that you put on the left, you've taken one off the right. Losing the bow here. You pull it up nice and tight as well as you go. There you go. Now you'll probably be thinking, well, you've got left with a loop here. All you need to do is make sure that loop's clear from getting caught in anything. I usually hold it underneath, and this loose end that you've just been wrapping, all you're going to do is give that a pull, and it's going to pull that loop and hide it underneath of your serving here. So give it a good pull, nice and tight, pulls it all in. Give your left like that. Just flatten it out a little bit. You're going to take your knife and you're just going to give it a cut like so and get rid of that. Now if you've got a lighter or matches or anything like that, it's you'll realise that a flame is good just for loosening up any burrs that you've got on there. So just hold it underneath where you've just tied it off. Give it a roll and it'll just shrink all that back in. I usually do that up and down the length of the serving here. Give it a roll. And all that does, it just bonds it, tightens it up, seals off the edges that are on there, and you're all good, you're ready to go. And a knocking point on your bowstring can be done in exactly the same way. You can do it over the top of this, and yeah, that's what I do with my bowstrings, and it works out really well. So as mentioned, you can also do it as a knocking point, which is what I've done here on the new Griffin. This will be the bow which is in the next review. It's so nice, and it shoots amazingly well. So a 9th, 10th century Mudyard bow, Hungarian bow. Very nice. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is going to be the next bow, but as you can see, the knocking points can be done in the same way as the serving. So I hope that's cleared things up for you guys. It makes it a little bit easier for you to follow. And yeah, that was today's how-to video. Thank you for joining me. Again, this is Journey with Arrows. Please hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, and you'll see all the previous videos and the next videos that will come up as well. And the next one you'll see will be the Mudyard bow, the Griffin by Paragon Bows. Thank you guys, and I'll see you then.